So in this Home on Ice, as I mentioned, was the song that we tried first at the studio in Providence, and since we were recording everything live, and I think we tried that one like 30 times on the first day, and we nearly gave up. It was a bit of an existential existential threat to the whole project was that particular song because we're like, I guess we just can't do this. Like we just don't know how to make an album, you know. To Sean's credit, I mean, it is one of those songs, as I mentioned, like there is a bridge. It does have more sections. There is a build to the end. So it's a little bit harder to put your finger on than like Over and Over Again or Upon This Tidal Wave of Young Blood, where he was essentially just like doing the drum machine. But when we finished this one, this was my favorite of all of them. My idea for this when we played it was to make it, you know, My Bloody Valentine was kind of, I wanted like all things working at once. This is why the double vocals. This is why there's a Juno synth. And then I put an organ as well, like underneath it. So the organ is just like do 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 do, but it's like it's supposed to all blend together. The guitar line and the acoustic guitar, yeah, it's all supposed to just kind of like morph together somehow. I like that one. We played a little different live. It's harder to make that one work live, but for the album, yeah, I like it. And it's a little bit strange because Sean's kind of like on the ride for a lot of it, and it's pretty crashy, like even through the verses. But I think it's really cool. Lyrically, it's good. I like the end. Let's just take it slow in this Home on Ice. I like the first line, blue, you radiant blue. I don't know how you can stand next to me. You talk like a noose and only confuse my perplexity. I think those are pretty good lyrics, you know, a bit dark. You talk like a noose. I was like, you know, that's a little tough, but still works. Not too bad. Yeah, and let's just take it slow in this Home on Ice. I like the title. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've heard that recording in several years, but I remember how everyone was done, and yeah, it's cool. It's a good song. I do recall I took it's kind of a funny little move to stop the double on the last verse, and I just have a single vocal, which is honestly I don't know if I've really heard that in any other songs. But I was just like, I'm gonna cut the double now, and now I'm just like, I don't know what prompted that, but it kind of works, you know. It's like it kind of works. Yeah, it's bizarre, but it does work. I've doubled vocals a lot since, like on the Tourist, I doubled them a lot. It's like it's an effect that I borrow, I guess, a bit from like John Cale and Brian Eno and people like this who I really admire. Like they did a lot of doubling, and it gives it a little bit of like a. I try not to do like the Gary Newman, like strict doubling, like where it's like he's exactly on top of himself. It's like more a looser type of thing, you know? So, you know, there's something magical about that one to me. when we started getting a lot of attention, I was so like removed from this sort of thing that I thought it was really bizarre. I mean, like to me, I knew a lot of friends who I respected in Philadelphia who I thought did good work, and nobody cared about them. So I was like pretty humble about everything and almost like defensive or in regards to like, hey, you shouldn't be listening to me. Check this guy, that sort of thing. I was like, I didn't really understand it. Um, the pitchfork thing was a little bit, maybe they did write about this. I didn't know if they wrote about the EP or just that song. I don't remember. I did read that review of the first album and I thought, well, I'm happy that you liked it, but I have no idea what you're talking about. you know, it's like these are a lot of interesting guesses, but yeah, that's the way it is. Like, if I ever read reviews after that and they were negative or positive, I'm really, as you can probably tell from this interview, like I'm pretty invested in music. Like I know if I'm into a project, I will know virtually everything about it. Like, so I'm a real kind of like music dork and snob. And so when somebody writes a review and it's negative, oftentimes the thing that bothered me was like when people evaluated things, it was kind of like, well, we just don't like the same types of albums. I guess that's it. Beyond that, there's nothing really that I can draw from this that I could actually work on. You know what I mean? It's like getting an essay back from a professor or something like this in college and just being like, I didn't really like it. I'm like, well, that doesn't really help me grow as an essayist or anything like this. So at a certain point, I just stopped reading reviews and stopped paying attention to that at all, because I'm like, I can't apply that to my work. So yeah, I thought that was a little dismissive. It was bizarre to me because they're like, oh, you're like a blog band or like a blog rock band. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't, I mean, did people call bands zine rock bands like before that or like New York Times arts review rock bands before? Like, who cares? It's just somebody's opinion, like, what does that even mean? So I remember we were like grouped in with, a band that I've actually still to this day, I've never heard, and maybe they're great, but I just never had the opportunity or something. But there was a band called Tapes and Tapes, and they're like, it's like Tapes and Tapes. And I'm like, I don't know who they are. I mean, like, never heard them. Several others where it's just like, we happened to come out around the same time. And I did hear some of the others that we were compared to. And I'm like, well, this is nothing to do with the way I write songs at all. But whatever, however it gets to people, it's not my business. But I also found it was like kind of lazy to say, oh, because blogs are around at the same time. Like, yeah, but there are other things, other media sources that also wrote about the album, and it's not just blogs. But you know what? To me, though, for the blog rock stuff, similar to zines, oftentimes these are the people who like work at record stores, who are really like work at college radio stations, like kind of like my people, like the people who I know and have been friends with, the people who go off to write blogs or try to write blogs, especially at that time, more or less, they kind of like listen to everything and they have like a pretty decent sense of music. So for me, I was like, that's a bit of a compliment. Like, that's fine with me. It's better than somebody at some newspaper who's like, 80 years old and doesn't really know what's going on, or never really listened to anything. But the blog rock thing, though, I would say this, like if it's anything like the zine thing, and I knew people who had zines back in the day, they were pretty full on invested. They would go to a lot of shows and they would generally know the climate of music. So in a way, it's kind of nice.